Welcome back to today's Women's Show. I'd like to mention my sponsors once more. They are Noah Lovely Baby Diapers, Queen's Pride Perfume Rice, No Substitute, and Neck Sheen Hair Products. Now, the moment you've all been waiting for. Here's my introductory documentary. Please watch it.
Even though the economy is turbulent, according to recent statistics, young people are opting for the entrepreneurial route instead of relying on the government or private sector to employ them. It's encouraging to note that more young women are taking up the reins and establishing their own businesses. Traditionally, the activities of women to support the household ranged from farming to petty trading. In these modern times, women become entrepreneurs for a large variety of reasons.
I think I really wanted to challenge myself to just understand if I could apply the same passion and drive that I had done when I was working corporately into my own business.
I came into entrepreneurship quite by chance. It's not something that I'd ever planned to do. I'd worked in the corporate sector for 20 years in management consulting, worked across Africa and in the UK. But at some point in my career, I realized that I wanted to do more. I wanted to impact my society, my world. And I didn't just want to be, writing reports and strategy reports and giving it to clients. I wanted to actually impact people's lives.
For me, it was just by default because, as a practicing lawyer, I had an option to either join another law firm or join the legal department of another institution. But it was more the need to balance my family's needs with my legal career. And it was easier for me to run my own business so I could be in control of my own time.
It started from just a love for what I do. I love fashion, one. I love Africa too. I love our culture, our traditions, and what makes us us. And I always wanted to channel that in what I did.
Although it's still quite daunting, more financial institutions have established instruments that assist women to finance their businesses successfully. However, there are still some key facts that budding women entrepreneurs have to remember when establishing their companies.
What I tell people is you need to look for money in the right places. There are various forms of financing, and most people are ignorant of that. So most people go to the traditional banks to ask for money for things that the banks are not set up to do. However, there are other avenues for which you can look for money from. We have venture capitalists, we have the capital markets where you can raise equity, where you sell a part of your business for money. And I think there are other forms of looking for money. There are people who can go for soft loans from angel funds, as we've been told about in this program. Irrespective of the economic challenges, I think there'll always be a reason why you don't start something. It's important to make sure that you are determined to do whatever you do, because whatever you do, there'll always be challenges, and you need to find ways in which to go around the challenges.
Whether she is leaving the security of a steady salary or pooling her savings to start her own business, the young woman who decides to become an entrepreneur is not to embark on this journey lightly. It's a lifelong adventure that can be a roller coaster of thrilling heights and depressing lows. Successful entrepreneurs had these words of advice for their younger female counterparts.
Your purpose, the gifts and the talents that you have, empty yourself of it, do it excellently, and those who want to criticize, is their prerogative. They have the right to do so, but you mustn't let that stop you from actually attaining what it is that you set out to do.
And I think that is so important for women in business, is that we have to be women of substance.
If you're a go-getter and you decide this is what I want to do, you need to know how to carry everybody along. You need to know how to manage all the different aspects of your life. And somehow, things will fall into place.
And I think it's important for any successful person, being it a man or a woman, to be confident, focused, and results driven.
So that level of commitment needs to be there from the start, from the get-go, and just realize that I'm not going to be a superstar overnight. I need to put in the hard work, and I believe that kind of dedication plus the passion you have for it plus a clear vision would lead you ultimately to your goal.
Join us on this morning's edition of Today's Woman as we celebrate women who are holding up their end of the sky.
So my guest in the studio this morning, I'm sure you've just seen her face on the short clip, is Ruka Sanusi, who is a management consultant. I mean, she's worked over 16 countries in Africa. And she has a unique focus, and that is providing advisory support for business operations and strategies. And next to her, I have a dear friend, Miss Femi Adetola, who is actually a lawyer by profession, but she has a passion for cooking, as I do, and she runs the Red Chili here in Osu. You're both welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Now I'm going to start off with Ruka. Okay. Now, who is an entrepreneur?
An entrepreneur is somebody that has a business idea, actually perhaps even more than one business idea, and you dare to actually live that idea. You actually put it into practice. And you do that with a lot of gusto, and you do that and make a lot of make money out of it.
So it can cut across any discipline. So
Absolutely.
An entrepreneur, you could have a legal entrepreneur, a medical entrepreneur. Can
Absolutely.
that be somebody who sets up a hospital, somebody sets up a law firm?
Exactly.
Whatever you choose to do, so long as it's your idea and you fly with it.
Exactly. So maybe even the food sector, like yourself, it's across sectors.
It's across sectors.
Yes.
Now, is that akin to being a business person? If somebody says, I'm a businesswoman, are you also an entrepreneur?
I don't think so. There are many business owners all over the world, including in Ghana, who are not entrepreneurs. They're just they're managing a business. Unfortunately, whether it works or not, they're just managing it. Whether they make money or not, they're just a business owner. An entrepreneur actually, if you start something, it doesn't work, move on to the next one. That's an entrepreneur. That's the spirit of entrepreneurship.
So you think that the spirit of entrepreneurship means somebody who is ready to take risks and
Absolutely.
run with it?
Indeed, that's really one of the key definitions of entrepreneur. You're a risk taker. A business owner doesn't necessarily just doesn't take risks. I run my Kelewele business. I run my tailoring business, and if clients come, they come. If they don't come, I sit here and wait for them to come. That's a business owner. An entrepreneur is, you're so focused on your business strategy, on your idea, how to actualize it, how to make it work, bringing in partners, having third-party suppliers, focused on getting your clientele right. It's all of these things. Yeah.
Now, so would you say that being successful at what you do determines whether you're an entrepreneur or you're a business person?
You can be a successful businesswoman, right?
But not be an entrepreneur.
Absolutely.
Still.
Because
Wow.
some people look at the woman at Makala here and the woman at Makala in Ibadan. They're making serious money. Serious money. And they're traders. They're trading in cloth and all of that. And some of them are actually risk takers. So I think a component of them are actually entrepreneurs, right? Because if you think about it, one year they're bringing a particular kind of cloth. Another year it's another one. It's lace, it's voile, it's this, it's that. But I think there are some people who just... Entrepreneurship requires you to be very dynamic and be very responsive to the times.
Innovative.
Exactly. And if you don't have that, I'm afraid you're just a business owner. Yes.
Well, I'm sure that's something that's very good for people to know, because I'm a businesswoman, entrepreneur. I'm saying spell the word. It's not always. But Femi, you're an entrepreneur, a budding entrepreneur, I should like to say. Now, how did it all start for you?
I think I love to cook. My mother used to force me to cook every Saturday, to go to the market with her.
I read your profile where it says going to Agbogboshi was a must for you.
It wasn't an option. It wasn't an option at all. I had to do it on Saturday, every Saturday, before I could do anything else. So when I went to college, and we didn't like cafeteria food, I would cook for the African girls. We were very small. I went to an all-girls college.
Okay.
So they would eat. And then eventually I wanted to own a restaurant when I moved back to Ghana. I worked at the bank for about 6 months. It just wasn't for me. I didn't like it. I just felt like I wasn't using my full potential. I just felt so constrained, etc. So I I used to come and eat abuka all the time.
I know that.
all the time, at lunchtime. And I absolutely loved the concept, and I wanted to do something similar. And I also wanted to be a lawyer as well. So I went to law school then, and I started in my grandmother's kitchen with $600 and her pots and pans.
Which is so admirable, because, you know, there are some people don't learn to live their dreams, I find, in this country, you know. I think that it's all expected for us to be professionals.
Yes.
They think you've got to, you know, you've got to serve time, literally.
Yes.
You've got to do that. You don't come out of school and decide immediately that you want to own your business.
Yes, and I think a lot of people, even parents as well, they panic, because I remember my mother, the only reason why at the time my mother supported me was because in her mind I was going to law school, so it was okay. This was like my hobby. You know, just let her try and do something.
And then it becomes successful.
And then it becomes successful. And then I'm thinking, okay, so when you're retired, you want to join me or stuff like that. But I got a lot of people who said, what are you doing? Did you go to school to come and serve food? And my concept when I started was to do takeout and delivery. And people said, well, people are not going to order this type of food when, you know, they're in the office and stuff. And I just refused to listen, because I was so driven by what I wanted to do. And so I was the first cook at Red Chili.
Oh wow, you did the cooking yourself?
I did the cooking myself. I did the delivery myself.
Oh my God.
My grandmother's very dear to me. She helped me start. So she would take the orders on the phone and write it out for me and stuff like that. And then eventually it got big. People were talking about it, and it was Red Chili. And then we moved to a premises, and then I tried to do an eat-in restaurant. It's not a straight road. It's up and down. There are days when, you know, you're like, how am I going to do this? What am I going to do? But it's important to ask. It's important to seek help. It's important to ask people who've already been in your industry. I mean, I have this thing where I believe that God will share enough for everybody.
Oh yes.
So
someone said to me, even it says, if you look up in the sky, have you seen all the stars?
Precisely. And I think it's important that as women, we sort of hold each other's hands through it. When it got to the point where Red Chili was getting bigger than what I could manage, it's important to seek outside help. I went to Alden's Lane for 3 months, and Ruka was at it. You know, you always need somebody to sort of bounce the ideas off of, and you need somebody who can also just take you out of your zone and sort of like keep you in line with your vision and your mission, etc.
Baruka, I mean, do you think that the African culture and its traditions actually hamper female entrepreneurs from becoming fully accomplished?
I don't think the culture inhibits you should be a businesswoman. It doesn't. Actually encourages it. Whether you're selling tomatoes or, you know, a tin milk. In many ways, I think our men expect you to do something like that. But I think what becomes difficult for our society is to accept a very successful female entrepreneur.
It's amazing. We're in the 21st century, and entrepreneurship is still very much a male-dominated thing. I mean, why can't we women sort of rise up and decide that yes, we're taking it and we're moving on with it?
I think I was, you know, just saying this yesterday, a conversation that we had. You know, many spheres in you know, in the world, whether that's business, whether it's in other sectors, women are still very new to it. You know, it's only in the last couple of decades, actually in the last maybe 100 years, that women could actually vote. Women were not playing golf professionally, were not playing football, not playing tennis. Same thing in the business sector. It's only in the last couple of decades that we actually started to work and then even enter the C-suite, right? And then, you know, the boardroom. So it's not so much that, you know, the world is conditioned to be run by men. Let's just face it.
So it's a man's world?
Well, no, it's not a man's world, but it's traditionally been, you know, run by men. And I think that other women who are now saying, you know what, I have a business idea. I'm a lawyer, but I also want to own a restaurant. You know, I want to run this fabulous open air restaurant that sells African cuisine and call it Buka, inspired by Nigeria, Cote d'Ivoire, and Ghanaian cuisine. And why can't you do that? So I think it's not that. It is a man's world, but there's some women who are coming out now and actually want to live their life as well. They want to have children, they want to marry, they want to do all that as well. But also, offer the world their best through their own giftings and talents. Yeah.
So do you really think a woman can have it all?
Personally, I would want to turn that question around and ask you whether men can have it all as well.
Well, they literally seem to be having it all.
Well, I don't know.
Because, you see, a woman's job, a woman's role in a home is almost different from that from a man. A man is a provider. A woman is more of the one who keeps it all together. You understand what I mean?
Yes.
It's probably in it's only recently that you'll find a man who is willing to change the woman's the baby's diapers, or is going into the kitchen. My wife is not home yet, so let me fix something for us to eat. So when we say a man can have it all, literally for him in his role, he does have it all. But for a woman, can you really be a successful entrepreneur, be the best mom and have the badge on, be at every football game, be everywhere, and also be that in the boardroom?
I think in life there are times and seasons, and we go through certain seasons in life. There's a season to be perhaps more domesticated, be the wife and the mother, and perhaps when your children are a particular age or whatever, you can actually just awaken to that entrepreneurial desire that you have. So I think it's recognizing the seasons and walking with the seasons. So I don't know whether everything can be done at the same time. You can be going to Timbuktu today, Shanghai tomorrow, Dakar the next, and then be at the football matches. You can't. You're not you can't be cloned. So, but I think recognize the seasons and work with the seasons to balance every aspect of your life.
But I think what Penny said also adds on to what you're saying, in that we need to pull, if it's family, pull them along.
Absolutely.
If you've got children, find a little place for them to come into your workplace so they're with you as you work. So you're not losing out on all those things, because it's very, very important when it comes to raising children as well. So for those of you who joined us, we're chatting about female entrepreneurs here in Ghana, and I'd like to acknowledge my sponsors once more at this time, and there are Noah Lovely Baby Diapers and Queen's Pride Perfume Rice, no substitute, and of course Next Sheen hair product for the hair of your life. Now, you found that there were certain things that you couldn't do. You found you had certain challenges that made you alter a little your idea or what you had set up actually to do. What sorts of challenges did you face?
The first one that comes to mind is financing. It's very difficult to find financing for startups, for SMEs, for businesses where you're now building your track record. So either you're borrowing at very, very high rates or you don't even have the opportunity, access to be able to borrow. So coming up with financing was one of the biggest challenges. So it's sort of, when I realized that it's more difficult to raise financing, I sort of looked at elsewhere to raise funds, whether it's doing another side business which primary focus is just to raise financing to be able to fund my dream. That's financing is a big issue. Another issue is the type of workforce. Most of the people who work in our industry, in the hospitality industry, are not, with all due respect, as educated. So they come into work and it's just a job for them. It's not, they don't see your vision, they don't see your plan, and for them it's just to earn a paycheck. So reorienting their mindset for them to be proud of what they do, whether it's their dispatch rider, or for them to understand that when you go to the client, you are the face of Red Chili at that moment. You are me, you're everybody here. So you have to be able to present yourself properly and speak to the clients properly and be able to sell us to the client and not just get upset because the client didn't take their food on time or etc. So reorienting their mindset was one of the biggest challenges as well. And also finding like a crack team. I like to put it as a crack team, you know, whether it's somebody who's doing your PR, or somebody who's doing your marketing, or somebody who's doing your stock keeping or whatever, finding a crack team. But so far they're new support. Support system. So far there are new companies coming up. Einen Limited does our PR, etc. So it's good to be able to offload that part to somebody else so that I can focus on exactly what my role is. So I think it's all coming together, but financing still is a very big issue for startup businesses. Yes.
Now, Ruka, you know women can be quite emotional. Do you think we carry our emotions into the workplace?
Most definitely. I think even when you start a business as a woman, you carry your emotions into that business plan, into that business idea. And it's so important to manage your emotions.
Is it good or bad?
I think it's good and bad. because it's good to carry your emotions and your passion into your business. I mean, that's why Femi she went to study law, she went to law school, and she has this business because she just, that passion, she can't let it go. So that's why there's a red chili today. But when you go to the office and you're having a bad day and your staff know it, that is not good. That's not good leadership. So I think it's good, and it has its positives and negatives, carrying your emotions with you into your business. Because as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, you have leadership responsibilities, and it's important that your staff and your stakeholders can look up to you, they can respect you, they can see you as somebody with authority, somebody that they want to be mentored by, and somebody that they want to work with. So if day in, day out, they can't gauge your mood, your response, and it just makes it difficult to actually work with you and be motivated
by you.
Exactly.
Now, do you think that having this a Women's Entrepreneurship Day will help bring women together and for us to learn to learn from one another? I think it's useful.
Think so. I think it's so valuable. I think you'd be surprised at how many women you're inspiring just by being on this show. Just by being on the radio show talking about your business, how many women will think, goodness, I actually want to start a restaurant as well. So I know that I can do it. It's important for women to come together, to network with one another. For all you know, there's a supplier in that room last Wednesday that Femi needed, and she didn't know that Ekoa had that business, and she could be a supplier to her own business. And also, like we just established, women enter businesses as passions. And they actually need knowledge and information about actually how to manage their business, how to operate their business. What is the best practice in choosing a supplier? What is the best practice in recruiting and selecting staff? All of these things, and that's why we need to come together and really talk about the proper business issues. I'm not one to host a meeting and we talk about domestic stuff. I'm a business advisor. That is my focus, and I choose my invitees very carefully, because I think if people are going to spend 3 hours of their day in my presence, I want them to go back home and
feeling it was worth it.
Exactly. So we're I think last Wednesday was fantastic. We're still, getting emails and feedback about how great it was, and I also think from what was said, we need more of it.
Now, I mean, it's refreshing to hear that, because you can, as an entrepreneur, or as a business person, there's this tradition here where we're not willing to share, because we think, if I share, then they'll steal my success, or you do that. We need to really get over that thing, because people are really thinking, no, I'm not going to tell them my secrets. If I tell them my secrets, that means that I've sold my success to somebody else, and that's something that we need to move away from. We need to educate people more, because it's all about the level of education of somebody. But we also live in a society where people believe a lot in the spiritual and stuff, which sometimes hampers people's business. You find somebody, they haven't run their business well, and then they come and say, because somebody is actually doing quote unquote, there's some
let me just take
negative.
I think I really liked what you and Femi said earlier on, that Femi used to come to book her, and then she would talk to you and all of that, and now she has red chili. I think entrepreneurship requires you to have courage, to be brave, and you can't be looking at what somebody else is doing and think, if I share my idea, they will steal it or whatever. Because believe me, I like you, I always say, nobody can steal my idea, because as I'm talking to you today, some of what I'm even saying is fresh, is new, because every day comes with new insights, fresh insights. So you cannot steal my idea. What I say to Femi is not what I'm going to say to
somebody, the next person.
Exactly.
You don't have a script.
Exactly.
For everybody.
Exactly. So I think we need to embrace one another, like you said earlier. We need to realize that two of us is better than one of us, and for me, it's amazing the kind of how businesses are strengthened when we can all come together and learn from one another. So to the person who is saying, I'm not going to go there, I don't want to, talk about my whatever because they will steal it, you're actually losing, to my mind, more than you're gaining. But also make sure that you're in the right crowd. You're with the right people, you're with the right networks that are actually, in nature professional, with like-minded people, with the right focus, nothing trivial. There's spaces for trivial activities, go to that, but there's spaces for proper business activities.
You sound very disciplined,
well, perhaps.
Very, very disciplined. Very much so.
So, move into the sphere that is appropriate for the growth of your idea, the development of your business, and for the profit and transformation of your business.
What do you think you've benefited the most from Alden's Lane, Femi?
So much. I think more than anything, I have owned my idea. As it was getting bigger, I felt like I was just losing it a bit. I was losing focus a bit. But Ruka sort of like streamlined it. I'm able to set a 3-month, 1-year plan, track my progress, and just be more specific with what I want to do. And also, more than anything, I think Alden's Lane turned me into a better leader, because the kind of issues that we were having at work, it was beginning to eat me up personally. And like she's saying, women carry their emotions to work, so you probably at work and I'm just not in the mood to see anybody. So now I'm able to deal with it better, take a step back and look at it and assess it, like you're saying, whether you're going to go through it, on the side, or over
Nothing
it.
is ever that
exactly.
big. Yeah.
So I think it's just changed my mindset, and I'm really, really excited about the future of Red Chili, and I'm really excited about it. So I think Alden's Lane is a must go, and you should go even before you start.
Even before you start.
Yes, because putting in the structures after you've started
sometimes difficult, challenging,
sometimes very difficult.
But the thing is that we're not very patient people. You're probably thinking, I have this brilliant idea and it's just going to earn so much money. I don't need anybody else to teach me what to do. I'm going to go in, and then when you hit that block, then you're sort of looking and seeking it. So I do agree with you.
But just to use your business as an example, you said we're not very patient people. I was at your restaurant the other day, and I saw that you were celebrating 10 years.
Yes.
That's patience. When you started, you probably didn't even know that.
Oh my God! If I begin to tell you,
exactly.
It was a 48-seater. Now it's a 101-seater.
Yes.
I didn't even have a proper place to wash dishes. Yes. It was done in the open air at the back. I didn't have the air-conditioned side. I didn't have the outdoor grill, but I added on.
That's it.
And I think that for me, if I can call it successful, because I'm very mindful, I'm still work in progress. But if I can, it's attributed to the fact that you have to be disciplined and financially disciplined with the work that we do. I think that the thing about us is that we kind of live in the we act as if the finances of the company are our personal finances. And that's one of the fastest ways to come down. That as well. And there are problems, but you've got to learn how to weigh them, what's important. You've got to fight that what is important. And ultimately, it's your dream.
Yes.
Keep it going. It comes to you. People ask me, well, I refresh the place. I do all kinds of things. But like you said, yes, it's 10 years. We're going on to, 11 this year, 12 next, by God's grace. And like you said, it's a lot of patience. It's a daily walk. But most importantly, I enjoy what I do.
And I think that's really important, enjoying what you do, recognizing that it's a daily walk. And your business is what feeds you, what pays for the fees of your children going to school, buys you a vehicle. You've got to be patient with it. You've got to be disciplined, to use your word, with it, and it will work for you. But it's not a trivial venture. It's not a one-night wonder.
No, it's not.
It's a marathon.
It's a marathon for as long. I needed to run as long as possible. But anyway, it's been a real pleasure having you. I didn't even know the way the conversation was going to go, but unfortunately we ran out of time on this segment. So Femi, I wish you all the luck. Knock on my door.
Always.
Let's share the experience. We can start the networking, you, me, right?
Definitely.
And Ruka, I'll find my way to you gradually. Thank you so much, and I wish you all the best for the future. Viewers, we're going to go for another commercial break, and when we come back, we've got the Ghanaian ambassador for the Women's Entrepreneurship Day here with me in the studio. Please stay with us. Welcome back to today's Women's Show. I'd like to acknowledge our sponsors once more. I know our lovely baby diapers, Queen's Pride perfume rice, no substitute, and Neck Sheen hair product for the hair of your life. Now, as I promised you, the Ghanaian ambassador for the Women's Entrepreneurship Day, and her name is Letitia Brown, and she manages GAIN. She's going to tell us a little bit about what GAIN does. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
And so tell me, what does GAIN do, Letitia?
Ghana Angel Investor Network.
Okay.
So essentially GAIN was established to provide capital for very, very early stage businesses. So as Femi was saying earlier, when you're really trying to start a business, it's quite difficult to get capital in the really, really early stages when it's just an idea, you know, and you need some funds to get started. So the Venture Capital Trust Fund, which was established by an Act of Parliament way back in 2006.
A long time ago, yes.
Yeah, in 2011 saw this as an opportunity to engage the private sector in trying to develop the entrepreneurial ecosystem that we have here in Ghana. So GAIN was birthed, and essentially what we do is we connect investors, private investors, established businesswomen such as yourself, who wish to invest in very, very early stage businesses. So it's essentially that's what we do. It's a matchmaking service.
But then there must be some criteria that makes one qualify for your facility, or what you have on offer.
Most definitely. I think every point that we talked about earlier is definitely valid when we're reviewing proposals at GAIN. But I think most importantly, we're looking for businesses that are looking to scale. You know, our investors want to get in at a very, very early stage and then get out as quickly as possible, which is usually a time frame of maybe around 3 to 5 years. So we're looking at a business that has the opportunity to scale. So there definitely needs to be room for growth within that period of time.
Now, we've just recently celebrated Women's Entrepreneurship Day. Now, there's a short video to show that before we come and chat with you.
The contribution of women entrepreneurs to the economy has often been overlooked, not only in Ghana, but throughout the world. This unfortunate circumstance is slowly changing. Nowadays, there are organizations like the African Women Entrepreneurship Program and the Ghana Association of Women Entrepreneurs that offer support and training for female entrepreneurs. And now, in recognition of the impact that women entrepreneurs make on their nation's economies, the United Nations has launched the Women Entrepreneurship Day, which is celebrated on the 19th of November each year. This year, it was the turn of Ghanaian women entrepreneurs to join the celebration with a breakfast meeting at the African Regent Hotel. And the host of the Global Entrepreneurship Week Ghana explains why this day is so important.
Women's Entrepreneurship Day is part of Global Entrepreneurship Week celebration, which is an initiative started about 7 years ago, right, by the Coffin Foundation, and then by then the Prime Minister of UK, Gordon Brown. The whole idea was to foster entrepreneurship development across the board, building entrepreneurial cultures and advancing economic growth. And in the past years, we realized that it's important we recognize women and what women do in terms of supporting economic development. So just about last year, it was decided that we dedicate one of the days within the week celebration for women, because I believe that women are very vital to economic development and they contribute a lot. So we need to celebrate them. We need to inspire other young generation of women coming up to believe in themselves and go out there and make their mark.
The setting was intimate and encouraged laughter, the sharing of experiences, and most importantly, the building of networks between women in similar entrepreneurial ventures. Members of the informal panel expressed their enjoyment and shared their ambitions with their companions.
You have a dream usually when you start and you want to create a fashion brand for for the world, a global brand, something that, transcends borders. So it wasn't, well, I'm just going to do this small thing in a little corner and see where it takes me. I did know that I wanted to start to launch a global brand, to be able to develop Christy Brown into that, and that's what we're working on.
Your business is actually your livelihood. It is that which will feed you, and you bring up your family with it. I worked in the corporate sector for 20 years. I earned a good salary. I traveled the world, met the most amazing people, and I'm not about to leave all of that only to go into poverty. My plan is to exceed and excel financially in my own business.
But when you're working for yourself, it's really up to you. So success or failure is entirely in your own hands. And so I would say that when you're working for yourself, really the sky's the limit. The question is how disciplined you can be to make sure that you stay on track and achieve your goals.
I just needed to thrive in my career, and I had taken a 10-year hiatus to raise my kids and to be there for my family. So it was just, call it self-actualization. I wouldn't say that I was driven by money or anything per se, but I just needed to get that career going. I also founded an organization that links 40 accomplished women with 40 socioeconomically disadvantaged girls in partnership to ensure that they achieve their God-given potential.
It's nice to see women doing the thing. Women are doing their own thing. It's really wonderful to see that, But then how important is it for you for days like the Women's Entrepreneurship Day? It's such a mouthful. Entrepreneurship Day to be celebrated.
WED, for
WED,
short.
okay, fantastic. I don't have to say the whole phrase.
Wow. I don't think, to be honest with you, when I was planning this breakfast meeting to celebrate Women's Entrepreneurship Day, I realised how important it was. I don't think it was until afterwards. I mean, we had a fantastic time, but it was afterwards when people approached me and said, thank you, and I got hugs and kisses and just gratitude, so much gratitude for organising such an event, because I think that people felt it was an opportunity to share their burdens, to be inspired, to feel empowered as women, to, just share best practices. And there are not many platforms that allow women to do that here. And so I think it's extremely important. I know that now. I probably didn't know that before, but I definitely know that now. It's really important. Yeah.
Now, you're the Ghanaian ambassador for this, for WED.
I am.
WED.
Yes.
How did that come about?
Well, through the work I do at GAIN, I work in the entrepreneurial ecosystem, and a fellow colleague, actually based in Jamaica, the Jamaican ambassador for WED, said, Letitia, I think you'll be awesome. I think that you could really do this. And me being me, I was like, really? I don't think I could. Why me? I'm not necessarily a champion for women in business or anything like that, but I think that my role within developing the ecosystem really means that I have a platform to speak about what women can do within this space as well as men. So that's pretty much how it came about. And Stephen, who was just in the clip
he's
just
very
now,
passionate.
He's extremely passionate. That's not even a tenth of how much passion
I like that.
Stephen has for the work that we are trying to do. But I've been working quite closely with him for some time on a number of different events and initiatives and so forth. So he was like, Letitia, go for it, and I did, and yeah,
you are.
And here I am.
Carmen said something. Says the failure of a business or the success of your business depends on you.
Yeah,
and that's why I sort of like passionate people, because I think that if you are passionate, it's more likely that you will be successful at what you do. I think that what happens a lot with us here in Ghana is everybody is looking for somebody to blame for their failures instead of looking at themselves first.
Most definitely.
Now, as Ghanaian ambassador, what are your goals?
Wow. Well, the whole motto behind the campaign is to support, to empower, and to celebrate. Okay, so I want to be able to support women in business. And when I say support, it's by engaging with people like Ruka, people that can give you the tools to actually be able to take your business to the next level. Okay, empowerment. What does that really mean? I come across women all the time that have really fantastic ideas, but they're afraid to speak about them. They don't have the confidence, you know. And whenever we hold a pitch session, which is something that we do at Gain, you know, we get a panel of investors sat down, and then we bring the entrepreneurs in. They need to present their ideas in a really confident manner, engage their audience. You know, women tend to shy away from that because I don't think that we're encouraged here in Ghana to really...
It's a cultural thing.
Yeah, most definitely. And I think it starts right from, you know, primary school.
Yes.
Yeah, and then to celebrate. You know, we want to be able to hold events like the breakfast meeting that we had, just to say, well done, you know, huge pat on the back, and you're doing a great job.
So what's the next big thing for you at Gain?
Wow. Gain is really my baby. Although it's a job, I run it like as if it's my own company, and I think we're still in very, very early stages. We need to expand the network. We need more entrepreneurs such as yourself to come behind the initiative and support other entrepreneurs that want to come through. We need to really reach out to entrepreneurs too who are looking for funding or looking for ways of starting their businesses. I think there's still a lot of work to be done in that space. And next year we're actually going to be supporting entrepreneurs a lot more. We haven't been in a position to offer a lot of training previously, but I think next year going forward we've recognised the need to work with other organisations such as Auden's Lane, Serve-Led, you know, different incubators and co-working spaces to really be able to offer a more 360 degree approach to developing entrepreneurs. So then the funding really just slots in at the end, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Because you've got to get all the basics.
Yeah, most definitely. Those are, I'd say, the key things that I look at, and then we can build on it from there. Yeah.
So anyway, where can we find you if we were looking for Gain?
Okay, well, we have a website, www.gain.com.gh, and that's where we receive our applications. Okay, and Women's Entrepreneurship Day Ghana is where to go if you want more information about what we're doing with Women's Entrepreneurship Day. There's going to be an opportunity very soon for every female-owned business or female-led business in Ghana to become part of the global network.
That's fantastic.
And all of the information is going to be posted to our Facebook page, which is Women's Entrepreneurship Day Ghana. So, yeah, please check it out.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, viewers, we've come to the end of the show once more. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope that you've at least been able to go away with some information which is pertinent to what you want to do if you are hoping to be an entrepreneur.